Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of my series pointing out how overrated the Fate franchise is. I'm certain you are not very happy with me right now if you like this franchise, but the reason I'm doing this is to help people understand that the Fate franchise has a lot of issues. Now, I am not doing this out of spite or hatred. I simply want to present to you my perspective backed up by objective facts. This is due to my belief that a good story should be consistent and thought out because that is the very least it can do to respect its consumers. In order to present my argument to you, I will be going through the entire Fate franchise. Thus, a spoiler warning. Fate Zero is the prequel to Fate Stay Night. This story revolves around a magic tournament named the Holy Grail War. This is a secret magical tournament that is held in Fuyuki City, where 7 mages known as Masters summon servants, which are souls of legendary people who take a physical form. These masters, with the help of their servants, take part in a battle royale, and the winner of this tournament is awarded the Holy Grail, a legendary chalice that can grant a wish. That is the premise, and honestly, it's not a bad premise. It has so much potential, but it is quite underutilized. We will get to that soon. So, the show starts with the birth of our main character Kiritsugu's daughter. And Kiritsugu is married to a homunculus whose life's purpose is to become the Holy Grail. Why would such a homunculus come with a womb? I have no clue. Does this line mean anything?
I'm so happy that I could give birth to her.
Well, I am confused. There is a half-hearted explanation of why she acts like a human, but it has nothing to do with having a womb.
I am a homunculus created specifically for the Holy Grail War. Grandfather Oct ingrained in the vessel an instinct for self-preservation, so that it would avoid all danger and safeguard the Grail to its completion.
That isn't very important right now, but it does affect the next series, so just keep in mind. And then they summon their servant Saber and goes to battle a bunch of other guys. While watching this series, I came to the realization that there are so many dialogues that are solely there to provide exposition, and this is done in a very distasteful way.
I will be the cause of your death.
Dude, for real? I will be the cause of your death. And apparently she knew this beforehand.
I know.
So, why say this out loud? And why the moment she has given birth to a baby? Okay, apparently she only exists for him to kill her. And the stuff she is spouting implies that it's her life's purpose that has been dropped on her by whatever kind of guardian she had. So, why say I will be the cause of your death? That seems awfully unnecessary. It's almost like the writer wanted the characters to expose a pile of lore. But that's just a nitpick. Let's move on.
The Einsburns have dreamed of the day. It is the very reason I exist. When I came to know your ideals, I made your wish my own. You made me who I am today. You have guided me on my path. You offered me a better life than that of a simple puppet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Kiritsugu, don't forget, you're striving to make a whole new world where no one cries. This is what your whole life has been about. 8 more years and your fight will come to an end.
Okay, first off, what does that have to do with the child? And let's not forget how awkward it is for someone else to remind you what your life's goal is, even though he knows it cause it's his life's goal. This is called bad exposition. As an example, they wanted to say how long it will take for the Holy Grail Battle Royale to start. They wanted to tell us that Irisville and Kiritsugu are close in the most artificial way. They wanted to establish he is a good guy. They wanted to allude to her being a homunculus. And let's not forget, they wanted to outright state what Kiritsugu's ideals are. Trying to shove in so much exposition can take away the emotional weight this scene is supposed to have. Dude, we are only 2 minutes in and I am complaining. I'm certain it will get better though. Okay, so we are going back 3 more years?
The Holy Grail War. The battle for an ancient relic that performs miracles.
Maybe tone down the exposition, at least slow down, and have some regular human talk. Jesus Christ, this is irritating. So you need an insignia to summon a servant. So yeah, apparently they do an awful job expositing everything. The so-called servants are heroes from the past, like Arthur Pendragon, Gilgamesh and so on. Okay, that sounds cool.
But heroes from every age and nation will come back to life in the modern world, killing one another to vie for supremacy. That is the Holy Grail War.
Okay, thanks for telling him what he already knows. I'm sure there is no confusion.
There is an unspoken agreement among all involved to keep this all secret. To ensure this rule is kept, someone of the Holy Church is always sent as an observer.
Oh boy, it just keeps coming, doesn't it? Maybe give us a breather. Some character interactions that at least give us a chance to understand how they are like as people. Or go ahead with your exposition.
We found proof a long time ago that the Holy Grail that will appear in Fuyugi is not the sacred relic that belonged to the Son of God.
And by the way, why ain't the Holy Grail Jesus' cup? Are they afraid to say it? Because if a weaker version of Jesus' cup is omnipotent, what does that say about Jesus? I thought God was the only omnipotent being. Guess there are cups that rival him. And by the way, they try to redefine what omnipotent is and does some bullshit stuff with. But I will get to it. Okay, so we are going 2 years past that conversation to Japan. Well, that was cool, I guess. Oh, another character. Yay, another new character. Karia.
That's not true! When you married him, you wanted happiness. You wanted...
Enough! This is between the Tosakas and the Matos. You left the world of mages a long time ago. This doesn't concern you.
If this shit don't concern him, then why tell him all this junk? Oh yeah, it's for us. Then 2 more characters, Weaver Velvet and Archibald, are introduced. To be fair, their classroom exposition is a lot better than the rest so far.
I will be perfectly frank. This paper is nothing but immature juvenile fantasies.
Archibald ridicules Velvet for being naive because of his writing, and this helps us understand what kind of people they are. I'm not saying this is great, this is decent. So even with the ability to write decent dialogue, they write tasteless exposition, which is a shame really. Speaking of Weaver Velvet, this story's servant summoning system is completely broken. Maybe there are explanations elsewhere, but the viewers shouldn't have to research this stuff to find the explanations out. As an example, there are 7 classes of servants: rider, saber, archer and so on. And it is said that only one of each class can be summoned. So do the summoners get to choose the class? Or is it just randomly assigned? Because even before summoning Saber, Kiritsugu and Iris knew they were getting a Saber class servant.
But Arthur, the wielder of Excalibur, is sure to be the strongest saber-class servant the Grail Wars have ever seen.
So what happens if 2 people picked Saber? Or better, what if everyone just summoned Gilgamesh? Would Gilgamesh appear in different classes? And speaking of Gilgamesh, he is summoned using the fossil of the first skin the first snake ever shed. How did they get it? First off, that should be evolutionarily impossible because the snakes are thought to have evolved from terrestrial lizards. So among the transitional phases from lizard to snake, there was probably a lizard that shed its skin before any snake. And how does one separate a snake from a transitional stage of a lizard unless evolution is false? The first snake God made? Oh boy, that is a huge can of worms I am not yet ready to open. And by the way, Uryu kills a family and draws a crude pentagram out of blood. This summons a servant. Okay, he didn't even speak the words. How does that even work? The next issue I have with this series is the Edge. Karya, who is a side character, goes to visit his evil father, who is willing to sacrifice his own children for his gain. Dude, seriously? Okay, I guess the ends kinda justify the means, you know. This old man threw a child into a pit full of larvae. That's edgy as hell. But again, omnipotent Grail is well omnipotent. So they make a deal. The grandpa releases the kid if he brings him the Grail. This is also from the first episode, by the way. So then we go to one of the stupidest scenes of the series. A serial killer named Uryu kills a man and a woman and then kidnaps a child and half-heartedly draws a pentagram. Out of this, a servant named Gilles de Ray pops out. This raises so many questions like is Gilles the default summon, and why him? Why not John Wayne Gacy? Or you know, Jack the Ripper, or anyone like that. Yeah, so Gilles and Uryu are so comically evil that I can't take them seriously. The show goes from edgy to ridiculous when they start killing children for fun. It's like the writer just said, fuck it, it needs more evil. So let's include 2 child killers who kill children for fun and let's show them killing children. This is edgy to the point that it immediately reached cringe and try-hard territory. So on the way, Iris Wave and Saber meets Bluebeard, who is Gilles de Ray, who mistakes Saber for Joan of Arc. So Bluebeard blames God for what happened to Joan. Sure, I guess that makes sense. So Bluebeard can disappear apparently. So Bluebeard goes back to Uryu to inform him that he found his previous love. And apparently Uryu was in the middle of crucifying children. This show, man, it's so disrespectful to the suffering of children. But art is art, despite how repulsive I find it. This felt like one of those Jared Leto scenes from Suicide Squad.
Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.
Trying too hard to be edgy. Now, in order to tell you how to do an edgy scene involving children, let's take a look at Made in Abyss. So in this series, there is a character named Contrived, who is a villain the protagonists have to face, and he is obsessed with finding a way to stop the abyss from killing mutating people who delve into it, so humanity can understand everything about the abyss by dwelling into this chasm without the fear of being cursed. Truly a noble goal, but in order to find a way to stop the curse of the abyss from affecting humans, he has to understand its effects and the nature of these horrible mutations. But unfortunately for Contrived, no one is willing to volunteer to be his guinea pigs. So Contrived did what he thought was necessary. He used orphans to study the effects of the curse.
I do regret having to use such precious lives as yours.
Even though Contrived and everything surrounding him is a lot edgier than Gilles de Ray, Contrived is handled so much better. There are moments where we get to see how much of a caring person he is and how he never gets angry at the orphans. He treats them very kindly and does his best to keep the children happy, because even though they are nothing but a resource to him, he truly loves and respects these children, for in his eyes they are martyrs. And then we go back to Caster being comically evil and smashing heads of children if Saber decides not to surrender to him. And apparently, Gilles has a grimoire and he turns the children into slimy creatures. So there is an episode all about Tokiomi Tosaka's daughter, Rin. Rin is an annoying kid, but at the very least, the show tries to address the panic of children going missing.
There was another kidnapping on the news this morning.
The sudden disappearance of children has police investigators baffled. The teacher.
They don't do a very good job, but at the very least, they tried, I guess. So one day Rin follows a suspicious man with two kids, and apparently it's Uryu. Uryu sees her and she destroys his hypnotizing band that he used to capture children. That's not it. And she somehow rescues all the children and gets away from Uryu. It's a bit contrived, but at least they used prior established stuff, I guess. Then she runs away from the police because she's stupid, I guess. Then one of them tentacle monsters shows up and almost kills her. But thanks to her plot armor, Karia comes out of nowhere and he saves her. But that isn't the stupidest part. The stupidest part is Karia keeping an unconscious Rin on a park bench and stalking her from a distance. Do you know how that might look? A suspicious man looking at a sleeping girl, and the police does fuck all until Rin's mother comes there. And well, the writer jerks himself off using a child killer.
A world filled with so many wondrous and amazing things like this could never have happened simply by chance. If you set your mind to enjoying it, there's no better entertainment than this unbelievable world. I'm sure there's a master entertainer somewhere writing the story of all 5 billion people in this world.
Congrats, you have reached a level of cringe that transcends reality.
Truly, you are the insightful bearer of a brilliant and important new philosophy. A god who makes mere puppets of men for his own sport, and at the same time is himself but another clown.
Yeah, this is what happens when a high schooler first learns about Epicurus's trilemma. Okay, for those who don't know, there was a guy back in the day who questioned the nature of God, named Epicurus. The dude said if God was all powerful and all knowing, he cannot be all good. And if God was all knowing and all good, then he cannot be all powerful. Because if God knew people were suffering and had the power to change it, but did nothing, he is an evil God. But if God wanted to help people and knew that they were suffering, it means he isn't all powerful. This idea of God being okay with evil is not a brand new philosophy, so chill out. Fate sure does have problems. And speaking of problems, let's talk about shit that made no sense.
Upon materialization, all servants receive knowledge of the modern world.
Then why is Iskandar a fish out of water? Why is Gilgamesh surprised to be born in a world so ugly? Is this to justify Saber being a Mary Sue? And oh, human beings acknowledging the destruction happening and the UFOs. Then why don't they take action? Military patrols, curfews, tighter security? Let's not forget an explosion wasn't all that happened. So many serial killings took place and child abductions. But this show addresses it half-heartedly because they don't understand logic. There's a scene where one of our idiots slices off a hand of a woman and shoots the hand. This happens in the middle of hundreds of children being abducted and while explosions are going off left and right. So everyone should be on edge. Everyone definitely heard her scream or at least the gunshots. So there is no way she is going anywhere other than jail. And that is not even the beginning of that. In one episode of the first few episodes, there is a scene where Iskandar talks about wanting to fight Bill Clinton.
For the moment, I think the biggest obstacle for us will be this Clinton guy. He will prove a more formidable opponent than Darius III.
So this is during 1993 and 2001. Oh, so back when America was the world police, why don't they intervene? When Japan is plagued with serial killers, terrorist attacks and child abductions. In fact, why doesn't the UN give a shit? Are there only 2 fighter jets in Japan when dollar stock Cthulhu attacks? Seriously? So episode 6 starts with a bunch of guys going through the rubble and SWAT or anti-terrorist forces are not available. Now you might say humans can't do anything against these guys. All I have to say is Saber won't survive an 60 cal to the face. Even if she could, Mr. Emiya won't.
Thus, in accordance with the emergency powers granted to me as Overseer, I am temporarily altering the rules of the Grail War. Masters are to hereby cease all ongoing combat in pursuit of the Grail, and focus on the elimination of Castor instead.
And the Overseer changes the rules of the competition so everyone goes after Gilderay. So why doesn't he do the same for the rest? Till his son or Tokiomi are the only ones remaining? I'm not sure. If it is because they are involving innocent civilians, you can do that to Saber and Emiya as well. Because Maya is not a mage. If you can't remember, they use explosives and so on and so forth. The government and the entire world should be invested in these bizarre happenings. And don't tell me the mages went door to door wiping people's memories, because that ain't even established. And speaking of established magic, this series has magic that can heal entire body parts.
For now, I've only been able to regenerate your organs.
Including but not limited to an entire rib cage, deadly injuries, being impaled, being burnt alive and falling off a building while being eaten by bugs from the inside out. How are we supposed to have steaks? And by the way, there is this whole subplot about Saber's tendon being severed by a cursed spear. So magic can't heal that specific injury. So why not slice off that part of the arm and heal it with magic? Okay, Iris should be either dead or unconscious, but it don't work like that in them homunculus. Or you know, the show doesn't get biology and she gets stabbed, but the dumb shit ain't over. Now you might assume Saber would keep the sheath of Excalibur, but no, Iris was handed this right before she ran away. So she escaped death, and it kinda shits on the stakes, doesn't it? An auto revive weapon. But it was established earlier, so whatever, I'll allow it. Oh my god, I still haven't even gotten to the stupid decisions and embarrassing contrivances. Saber, Kirei, Cast have ridiculous plot armor. So apparently Diarmuid's weapon has the power to bypass magic. This begs the question, Saber's sword is a magical construct, thus shouldn't his spear pass through her sword and kill her? Nah. It only applies to her armor, cause reasons. And besides, Saber is a huge idiot. She banks on brute forcing her way through a spear. Now I ain't Shadversity, but dude, if you are closing the distance, you shouldn't telegraph like that and let your opponent know where you are striking. And Archie decides to be the rational one again and asks Diarmuid to kill Saber while she is fighting Berserker.
You are to help Berserker kill Saber. Now!
And Berserker stops his mad rampage to see what's going on for some reason and waits patiently. And also, for some reason, Iskandar was able to hit Berserker even though Diarmuid jumps away. Remember how agile Berserker was?
That black thing casually snatched the first blade that was flying toward him out of the air and used it to deflect the second spear.
Well, forget it. Cause he is only strong when it's convenient. Man, the plot armor on Saber is beyond OP. And why not resummon Berserker after everyone left? And get rid of Saber so Karya gets closer to his victory. But I guess them worms makes him go nuts. We get back to Caster being comically evil and smashing heads of children if Saber doesn't surrender to him. Gilderay says some dumb shit about needing a miracle of God to save Saber, and then she gets a miracle, cause plot armor is the ultimate noble phantasm.
But Lancer, my blade and my pride are the same. This wound you inflicted on me is a mark of pride, not shame. If that loss was the price of securing Diarmuid Odine's aid, then it was worth a veritable host.
Oh boy, Saber is an idiot. She's like, it's okay if all of us dies. It will be an honor to have an injury you gave me. But Diarmuid sacrifices his spear. Finally, for once you saw the big picture. There's also a scene where Tokyomi Tosaka could have ordered Kirei and Gilgamesh to slaughter them right away, because they took the bait. But since he is Tosaka and since the plot demands it, he is not a smart man.
Our second condition is that Kirei Kotomine be removed from the Holy Grail War.
That is stupid. No, that is not a fair compromise. Now she can just upgrade stuff with her powers? Since she can summon an armor and stuff, I can accept that she can make the bike stronger. But faster? Nah. And besides, it's good that no one is traveling on this road, cause it sure would put people in danger. I get the feeling the authorities might keep an eye on the flying chariot, but nah. Why would they, right? It's only a flying chariot that summons lightning.
Do not underestimate me!
No, I feel like people overestimate you. And by the way, can you please die? Okay, that's just stupid. But it's not like physics matters, so I guess it's okay. And I'm not even close to done yet. So Kiritsugu's goal is beyond stupid. He doesn't even think twice about his goal. He's like, well, the Holy Grail will let me do anything I want because it's omnipotent. Okay, he didn't even have a backup plan. He's just like, he's such an idiot. But ignoring that, there are so many problems with this concept of omnipotence. They are like, so well, yes, the Grail is omnipotent, but there's a catch. If you have a plan, it will be accomplished by the Holy Grail. It's so stupid. That's not how omnipotence works. And I mean, it's okay if you don't false advertise it like as an omnipotent Grail. So let me ask you something. So if instead of Kirei, Karya won the Grail and gave it to Evil Grandpa. So Evil Grandpa wants to be immortal. Now how does he do that? So does he have to know how to be immortal before? Does he need to know what has to change about him to be immortal? Or is it just I shouldn't die? If that's the case, then let's go back to Kiritsugu's wish. So he wanted a world where no one cries. And this could be accomplished in so many ways. Couldn't he just say, I want no one to cry ever again? Which is extremely vague, and this could end up doing more harm than good. I mean, what if people stopped feeling emotions? That would be nightmarish. I mean, what if the world just became one of those Matrix situations where people are just trapped inside pods dreaming of a perfect world? I mean, Kiritsugu had no clue what he was doing, and it's embarrassing that the show tries to paint him as an intelligent, cunning person. I mean, he thinks out stuff better than the rest because the rest are complete retards. But even he doesn't think out the least bit. He just does stuff. And there is another character who also has plot armor almost to the level of Saber. And that is Kirei, Oh yeah. And while Archie is busy, Irisville tries to escape with her husband's mistress. And I shit you not, Kirei brings a knife to a gunfight and wins. What? Does he have one of them John Wick suits? And you might say, well, he be doing it with his mana. But if that were the case, how was he bulletproofed after getting hit by an origin round? And by the way, if he got a John Wick suit, how did the origin rounds make contact with him? And let's not even talk about him not getting shot off guard. Okay, then why not do this sooner? And why not shoot him? I just have to say, why not do this earlier, again and again, don't I? I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things I like about the series too, so it is understandable why some people might like it. So Gil's introduction, it's done remarkably well. Everything about Gil is truly magnificent, and he is what kept me excited through this goofy ass series. Although the first episode was completely boring, the second episode is a lot better. And to be fair, the first half of the season has salvageable stuff at times. This is not as awful as Unlimited Blade Works, and Iskandar was a great and inspiring character. I really liked the battle between Iskandar and Gilgamesh deeming him worthy of witnessing Aya. It's all great. And I also think the episode where Iskandar and Gilgamesh roasts Saber for being naive was amazing. So,
spellcasting residue, remnants of magic left in the water.
Hey boy, did you know ahead of time that you were gonna find something like that lurking out there in the water?
If we follow the trail, it may be able to show us where to look for Castor. Of course not. But this town is unique in that water flows straight through its center. So water was the obvious place to look.
So water was the obvious place to look. Finally, it's nice to see some creative thinking, but it does beg the question, does magic residue move with water? Or does it contaminate the water in that specific location? If it contaminates water in the location, then removing the water should leave the residue in the location. But if it moves with the water, the residue might go to the sea. So I don't think it works like that, unless the water in the river stopped moving. Or magic just gives off unlimited residue, I guess. But that wouldn't surprise me. So even this nice scene is flawed. And oh yeah, the way Velvet enters the tournament is absolutely contrived. He gets hit by a package delivery guy who happens to carry an important artifact that just happens to be handed to him, so he can come to the assumption that this book will let him summon a servant. Wow, ain't that lucky? And besides, I thought this was a huge secret that only the top magic families knew. But anyone who reads these damn books can apparently find out everything about the tournament.
Your wish cannot include a method you yourself don't already know. If your wish is to save the world, it must be done in a manner that you can fully comprehend.
Dude, that's... I said that before, and I am happy that they are addressing that. But it took you too damn long to address it.
Kiritsugu Emiya, you truly are Angramanyu, the one worthy to bear all the evil in the world.
No, he's just an idiot. How is he worthy of anything? The show thinks it's so clever, doesn't it?
3 remain. Will you save 2 or choose 1?
That's such a simple concept.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll be happy just as long as you and Mother are with me from now on.
Man, she's annoying.
I will.
And I will save the world.
Never forgive.
Thank God you killed them both. They were getting so annoying.
You haven't won.
He has won the Holy Grail. Just die, bitch.
Look at that delightful expression, like that of a ravenous wild dog. Lay down your blade and be my wife.
Wait, what? Dude, what is this wife shit? How could you lower yourself to that level? Bad choice, Gilly.
In the name of Kiritsugu Emiya, And by my command seal, I order you, use your noble phantasm, destroy the Grail.
Dumb move, boy. There will be another Jesus Cup, another and another. What is the point of this foolishness?
Perhaps all this was a punishment meted out to a king who cannot understand others.
Again, you ain't no king.
Kiritsugu.
Wait, how did you escape the lava building? Okay. I kind of like how the characters I hate suffer in the end, but it took so damn long. This series wasn't good, but it's not irredeemable, I suppose. But the next one is simply redeemable. So about that issue I mentioned like an hour ago. In this series there are a few references that give me enough reason to believe that God is in fact real in this universe. So this begs the question, why are you guys not afraid of hell? Why attempt to change what God created? Because look, if God is all powerful, he will just undo Kiritsugu's wish. And the title of the franchise is Fate. So the word fate, unlike destiny, has negative connotations. Like, you know, he met his fate. So I feel like the story is deterministic, which means God or the writer contrived everything to happen. And the stakes are merely an illusion. Now I know stakes are normally an illusion in almost all media where the protagonist wins, but here's the difference. By adding so many contrivances, it becomes apparent that the stakes are an illusion. Thus it is considerably difficult to immerse oneself in the story. This is why stories should rely on minimal contrivances. It is exceedingly difficult to write an inciting incident without contrivances. And for an instant, since this is a prequel to the Fate Stay Night story, everything that happens here only happens so the next series would make sense, even though it ignores some of the things Fate Zero tries to accomplish. Thus, I conclude the first part of my 3-part series. I am doing this not to get views, not for the likes, because I won't be surprised if the fans of the series like the series despite its innumerable flaws. But I feel like the truth should be out there for anyone who wants it.